Hello and welcome to Plant Nerd. I'm James and I'm your host. Today we're going to be looking at mealybug and hopefully how to get rid of them. Now the sun's come out and I've been doing a little bit of a mealybug search around the plant room, and there are over 125 plants in here at last count. So it does take a while to look through them all, but on this rather large Euphorbia trigona, which is kind of nearly hitting the roof, it's well over 1 metre tall. I noticed at the top here, if you can see on these leaves, that telltale cotton wool-like substance that I spoke about earlier. Now this is definitely mealybug. It's the egg case. It's like a protective barrier so that nothing eats the mealybug eggs, but it makes it really easy for us to spot. So we will deal with that in a moment. So here we've got one of those leaves that we saw at the top of that Euphorbia. I just wanted to take it off just so that I could show you in a bit more detail what this looks like. Now you can see it really is like cotton wool, and it really is sticky. And if you were to have any kind of microscope, then you would probably see, or even a hand lens actually, you would probably see lots of little eggs in there. So we're definitely going to get rid of those straight into the bin after squishing them. Please remember, if you're using tools like this, if you're going between plants, you should always sterilise or wash the tools, because it's very easy to cross-contaminate. Now, a little bit further up that Euphorbia, I found this. This is an actual mealybug. See if we can get a good picture of it there. Now, mealybugs, they kind of look a little bit like a woodlouse. They're about 2, maybe 3 millimeters long. And they are covered in a waxy substance. So they're quite difficult to kill with the sorts of insecticide that you just spray on and hope that they kill the plant. But we will have a look at some different methods that we can use to kill these guys. Okay, so we've had a quick look at mealybugs and what their little egg cases look like. But how do we control them? So the first thing I would say is that if you do have more than a few plants, you will need to be really vigilant and check them once a week to make sure that mealybug isn't becoming a problem. Now, this is especially important when you introduce new plants into the area. If you've got somewhere to quarantine them, that's a really good idea. But if not, you need to keep a really close eye on it. Now, we do have a couple of products that I would like to show you that we can use. The first product I'd like to show you is SB Plant Invigorator and Bug Killer. Now this is a really good one to use for control. So if you get new plants in, give them a good spray over. It's not going to harm the plants at all. You can use this fairly regularly, but always read the instructions on the back. If you don't use it properly, then like with most pesticides, the pest can become immune to it. Okay, so we don't want resistant bugs, we want to be able to get rid of them. The second product I want to show you, if your first one isn't working, is I've had some success with this Provanto Ultimate Bug Killer with mealybug and thrips. Which I had a problem with last summer, and this successfully eradicated them. Washing them off of the leaves outside under a hose and then spraying this on. I did that twice with a week in between, and that really worked well. So that can be a good one. Both of these products actually I wouldn't use If you are using any biological controls, such as the ladybirds or parasitic wasps. Here we have an Adenium obesum, which I grew from seed. It's about 3 years old, and from the first summer that I had it, it was infested with mealybug, which obviously came from other plants in the plant room. And even now in the winter, when it's dropped most of its leaves, and these plants can be deciduous or semi-deciduous. I have another one which I'll just put in shot here, which is fully deciduous. This is an Adenium obesum Budsaracum, and this one always loses its leaves. I think they're about the same age, and you can see the difference in trunks because they're in different types of pots. This one here has a much more swollen cortex, but this one, which is in a bonsai pot here, has a much more conical shaped cortex, and you can see here where I cut it down because it was very tall, and that's just healing up. We can also see this cheeky little thing just crawling along the lip of the pot. Now you might see those occasionally just crawling around looking for somewhere else to live. If you do see them, get rid of them straight away, otherwise it'll just be more problems. Now with this particular Adenium, you can see that the mealybugs really like to get into those crevices, which makes them a bit tricky sometimes to see, especially when a plant is in leaf. This one's not in leaf, so they're a bit more exposed, so I can get to them. And I'm just going to show you one way that I like to try to get on top of the situation. So for this method, I will require two things. One of them will be one of my sprays, a spray of choice. The other will be a humble cotton bud, okay, or Q-tip, whatever you like to call it. So for this one, because it's not massively infested at the moment, I'm going to use my SB plant invigorator, which I'll give a little shake. Then I'm just going to, rather than spraying it onto the plant, I want it to be really, really direct onto those bugs and the eggs. So what I'm going to do is I'll spray a bit into the pot there and just soak the Q-tip. Then I will just let that soak in, and actually these guys are all stuck. You can kind of twist it around like candy floss to get them off. They kind of stick to the cotton bud there. There's some on the end here that I'm just going to wipe off. Okay, so that's a really good way of doing it. And if I bring this up, you might be able to see on there the little eggs that are now brown because they're wet. That's what we want to get rid of. Now on closer inspection of this Adenium, I had a look underneath at the roots. Not sure if you can see this, but there are some mealybugs on the roots. And surprise, surprise, they're called root mealybug. And they're even worse than normal mealybug because they're really hard to spot, because most of them live inside the pot. Now I can see that these ones on the outside, there are a few. It's not completely infested yet, but because this is a plant that I want to keep, I won't be discarding it. In the spring, I will repot the plant, take all of the substrate off of the roots and soak it in some insecticide or some warm soapy water before repotting, and hopefully that will help to knock those root mealybugs out of the way. But for now, I'm just going to give them a quick spray and wait till spring. Hi guys, if you're enjoying this video, please remember to like and subscribe. Also, don't forget Click on the bell icon so that you get alerted when I upload new content. Thanks a lot, it helps me out a great deal and it doesn't cost you a thing. If I could only have one plant out of all of the plants I've got, it would be this one. This is a bit of an anomaly. It is a variegated and monstrose version of an Astrophytum Asterias. It came out of seeds that I grew, which are supposed to be Super Kabuto, which is a particular style of those Astrophytum. However, this one decided they wanted to be a bit different, and I absolutely love it. I'm just going to quickly show you how I look after this and lots of my other plants. New pot. This time I've got deionized water. Now, deionized water is really useful to use on plants because it doesn't leave any residue. So unlike with tap water, and if you live in a hard water area, this can be a real problem. This will not leave any white marks behind. Now, I did notice here, I'm sorry about this bad camera work, guys. I did notice that here is a little white mark just down the crease of the rib. And that doesn't look like one of these marks here, which are the natural parts of the plant's growth. So if I just give it a wipe, I think that came off. I think it came off. I don't think, yeah, there it is on my finger. Where's my finger gone? It's on my finger anyway. So if I just give this a wipe over, and this just helps if there are any little bugs, because they love going down the little crevices. If there are any little bugs, it just helps to, or eggs, it helps to get rid of them. And this is a really good thing to do for all of your plants, especially before the spring, because they will need to be able to photosynthesize, and any dust or debris on the green parts of the leaves will prevent them from photosynthesizing properly. And what we want is plants that can photosynthesize. Now, this little fellow will be all good. So that's the end of this short video. Just a quick whistle-stop tour of mealybugs and a couple of ways that you can kind of help to control or maybe even eradicate them. In conclusion, I would say that your main weapon of choice must be vigilance. As soon as you see those little critters running around your plants or making those little bits of cotton wool, just treat and get rid of them, pick them off, whatever you need to do. Do it regularly and hopefully you'll have it under control in no time. As I say, if a plant is not too precious and it's really heavily infested, I would recommend that you get rid of it in the bin and try again next time. Anyway, hope that's helped and hope to see you again soon. Bye bye.